Usually, when we have something we're struggling with, when we have a weakness of some kind, what we do is we moan about it, we concentrate on it, we obsess over it, and we forget about God. That's often how I operate anyway, maybe that's just me. But Paul here seems to have developed another approach to suffering and to weakness, as we've seen over the last couple of days. And here he goes specifically on, first of all, what's this first little bit about? I know a man in Christ who was 14 years ago, was caught up in the third heaven, and he goes on about this man who kind of saw these incredible visions. That man is Paul referring to himself, and what he says is, I will boast about a man like that, but I will not boast about myself, except in my weaknesses. He's saying that I could tell you all about these incredible visions that I've had. But the only thing I will boast in, as he said yesterday, is I'm going to boast in my weakness. I'm going to focus on that. And then he talks about the fact that he was given these incredible revelations, but then in order to prevent him from becoming incredibly big-headed, God gave him a thorn in the flesh. And people have often debated what the thorn in the flesh Paul had was. We don't really know. So some people suggest maybe he had an eye problem. We know that his eyesight wasn't very good. Other people have said maybe he had a speech impediment, because we also know that he doesn't seem to have been very good at speaking publicly. Some people have said maybe it's a person. Maybe it's some of the people that you can come across in the book of Acts who really opposed Paul strongly, or who he refers to in his letters. But all of that is speculation. What we do know, is that there was something in his life, whether it's a person or it's an affliction, that caused Paul real pain. It really, really bothered him, so much so that he asks God 3 times to take this thing away, and each time God refuses, and he says this line, my grace is sufficient for you, my power is made perfect in weakness. And all of us have the right, and actually we're encouraged by the Bible to come to God with our weaknesses, with the things that afflict us, with the people that bother us, and to say to him, take this away. But also, we must be willing to hear that response at the same time. Sometimes God does do that. Other times, he maybe responds with this phrase, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. And Paul goes on and he says, basically, what I've discovered is when I have a limitation or a weakness, he talks about insults and hardships and persecutions and in difficulties. What I've learnt to do is to go to God with those limitations and to use them as a reminder to myself that I am broken and that I need him. And when I discover that in the midst of my weaknesses, then I actually find an incredible strength. What are you struggling with today? What's the weakness that's in your life? Come to Christ with it. Recognize limitations, and in that often we find a new kind of strength, because we lean on God and not on ourselves.